After studying this module, you shall be able to understand the different types of trends that can provide ideas for a new venture. Identify various sources of ideas. Learn how to generate ideas through various methods. According to Warren Buffett, today's successful companies live and die according to the quality of their ideas. Entrepreneurship is a business process that involves the identification and analysis of opportunities, the decision to exploit them on your own or to sell them, developing the strategies and organizing the new businesses. Opportunities can be identified once the entrepreneur has analyzed various ideas. The businessman might be lucky enough to hit upon one idea which can be built up, but generally he will have to come up with various ideas, analyze them and decide which of them can be turned into an opportunity. It needs to be assured that the idea is sound and economically viable. This identification of new ideas and turning them into reality is also known as creativity. Creativity is about having an unconventional approach, looking at things in a new manner, solving problems in new ways. It is all about imaginative thinking. It involves discovery of new ideas and innovation, which is critical function for entrepreneurship. However, creativity is not the same thing as intelligence. A highly intelligent person may not be creative. According to various scientific studies, creativity is influenced more by the environment than by heredity. As a result, a child's creativity can be encouraged and developed through a proper nurturing environment. The thinking process in humans can be convergent or divergent. Convergent thinking is a process in which an individual comes up with the best and unique answer to a problem after considering all the information available to him. This is the type of thinking that is generally encouraged in schools. This type of thinking is appropriate when there is a single correct answer for a problem and which requires the analysis of available information. The other type of thinking is divergent thinking. It is more creative process. In such a case, there can be more than one possible solution for a given problem. As a result, a person can come up with new and different ideas as solutions for the problem. An effective thinking process is said to be one which combines both convergent and divergent thinking, that is, precise and creative thinking. Convergent thinking focuses on logic, whereas divergent thinking is often illogical and consists of outcomes which may or may not be. To come up with new ideas, one needs to start with creative or divergent thinking to come up with different unusual solutions and then analyze these ideas to determine whether these are viable. Ideas for current trends. A good way of identifying an idea that will work is to look at the current trends. An entrepreneur can exploit any of the various trends as an opportunity for his new venture. Some of the trends that can provide opportunities are: first, green trend. Today's consumers are environment conscious and are willing to buy products that are green even at a premium. Water can provide opportunities such as smart irrigation systems and consulting firm that helps increase water efficiency. Other trends could be eco-friendly printing and recycling. An example is one entrepreneur who is turning waste into fertilizer using bombs and another using waster as a source of fuel. Second, clean energy trend. With the rapid depletion of fossil fuels, attention is now towards other sources of energy such as solar, wind and geothermal sources. Cost effectiveness and tax breaks in the future are likely to accelerate the use of these resources. Small business and homeowners can be an opportunity for an entrepreneur. Third, organic trend. Consumers today are increasingly become conscious of using organic products. They are gradually realizing the benefits of such products over non-organic products. This is especially so in the food sector, where the price of organic and non-organic are gradually becoming similar. In some countries, the sales growth for all organic foods including fruits, vegetable and dairy, meat, bread and snack foods average about 25% per annum. The market is also witnessing the introduction of organic apparel. Fourth, economic trend. The economic crisis has made consumer much careful in spending. This can create opportunities in various fields such as discount retailing, credit and debt management, outsourcing, virtual conferencing and do-it-yourself products. However, on the other hand, it must be remembered that luxury products also continue to grow in the market. Fifth, social trend. The social trend is one of the most visible trends today. This includes various social networking sites such as Facebook, MySpace, LinkedIn, etc. Apart from this, people want to be financially solvent and social even in their later life. Thus, financial planning and travel has become most sought after. Sixth, health trend. Maintaining one's health and concern about health are a major trend today. This gives many opportunities to entrepreneurs in the field of healthcare, elderly care, fitness centers, cosmetic procedures, personal health portals, point of care testing facilities, nutritionists and health food. Seventh, web trend. The web has led to the development of new ways of communication and also purchasing. This has opened up opportunities for entrepreneurs such as in blogging, online videos, online gaming, mobile applications and e-commerce. Sources of new ideas. Apart from looking at the current trends, the entrepreneur can tap into various sources of new ideas such as first, consumer. Consumer or potential customers can be a great source of ideas for an entrepreneur. The customer can be formally or informally monitored to gather their suggestions or opinions. The idea to be selected from such a collection, however, should represent a market which will be large enough to be viable. Second, existing products and services. Entrepreneurs should also monitor the existing products or services in the market. With this, the entrepreneur can think of ways of improving upon these competing products in the market. Opportunity can arise either by improving upon some deficiency in the product, or it could even be in form of replicating a good idea in the venture like Sam Walton of Walmart. Third, distribution channel. The distribution channel members can also be a source of new ideas for the entrepreneur because of their direct contact with the market. They often have suggestions for new product and later they can also help in the marketing of a new product. For example, an entrepreneur was suggested by the sales clerk to change the color of his product, as the color was the reason for the product not selling well. Implementing this idea turned out to be very profitable for that entrepreneur. Fourth, government. The government can also be a source of ideas in two ways. One, the government holds information about patents that have been filed. Though these patents cannot be used by the entrepreneur, they can be used to provide ideas which might be related to these. Secondly, regulatory measures by the government can provide new ideas to create a new venture. For example, in India, several state governments have made it compulsory for residential buildings to have rainwater harvesting system. This has led many entrepreneurs to come up with new ventures for providing rainwater harvesting systems. Fifth, research and development. This can be the largest source of idea for an entrepreneur. It can be a formal project connected with the company in which the person is employed, or it can be an informal project conducted by a person in a basement or a garage. For example, in one Fortune 500 company, a scientist developed a new plastic resin that became the basis of a new product as well as new venture. This was because the company was not interested in the new product and allowed the scientist to start his own new venture. Techniques of generating new ideas. In spite of various sources from which to get ideas, an entrepreneur may still be lacking ideas for his new venture. Since an idea is the starting point for a new venture, the entrepreneur may use various techniques to come up with new ideas. These techniques are: first, focus groups. Focus groups are a technique which has been used by market researchers since the 1950s. It involves a group of 8 to 12 people who engage in an open, in-depth discussion on a particular topic. The discussion is channelized by a moderator who leads the discussion. He keeps the discussion focused on the topic, which encouraging free flow of ideas, rather than just seeking answers to specific questions. Special skills are required to moderate the discussion, and for this, some of the following guidelines can be kept in mind. The discussions should be kept positive and constructive. There should be clarity about the goals of the discussion. The discussion should not waver any from the stated goal. No one should be allowed to dominate the discussion. The members of the group are chosen based on the problem. They are a cross section of people related to the idea. Creative solutions to a problem can be discovered effectively through focus groups. This is especially so for problems requiring investigation, exploration, new idea generation, positioning, strategic planning, and word of mouth research. Focus groups are able to come to a solution because of flexibility in the process of coming up with new ideas. Focus groups are not just a good way of generating new ideas, but they can also be used to screen the ideas generated. Second, brainstorming. This technique was developed in 1941 by Alex Osborne, who was president and founder of an advertising firm. He used this technique in his advertising business, where creativity and new ideas are very important. Since it yielded good results for the agency, it became popular and came to be widely used in solving problems. Brainstorming is a technique which employs a group of people to generate the maximum number of ideas in a short time by involving the maximum number of people. The members of a group are encouraged to come up with many ideas as possible without bothering about whether they are good or bad. The emphasis is on quantity rather than the quality of ideas. The process is carried on as a fun process, and a board or flip chart is used to note down all these ideas coming up. Guidelines to be used in brainstorming are: no criticism of any idea is allowed, spontaneous response are encouraged, quantity of idea is important, the crazier the idea, the better it is, building upon the ideas of others is encouraged. Once the brainstorming session is complete, the 80:20 rule should be applied. This means that 20% of the ideas need to be identified, which will lead to 80% of the results. Brainstorming is very useful technique, especially for entrepreneurs, for generating ideas for various problems such as identifying an opportunity, design issue and business ideas. Third, reverse brainstorming. This is similar to brainstorming. The difference lies in the fact that this technique allows for criticism of the ideas generated. It involves finding out what is wrong with an idea and then finding ways to overcome the problems with an idea in order to come up with an innovative and viable idea. This method can also be used effectively to generate new ideas. However, it requires a lot of caution, as it needs to be ensured that a criticism does not discourage and dampen the enthusiasm of the participants. Fourth, brain writing. Brain writing is a variation of brainstorming. It is in fact brainstorming done in a writing form. In brain writing, participants in a group are given more time to think and they are required to write down their ideas. It was developed by Bernd Rohrbach at the end of the 1960s. The participants are given special forms or cards. The member writes down 3 ideas on the card within 5 minutes and then passes it on until all members have written their ideas. A group generally consists of 6 members. A leader monitors the process and can alter the time period allowed. The process can also be performed electronically with the participants located far away from each other. Fifth, the Gordon method. The Gordon method is a creative technique developed by Osborne. It involves a group which is unaware of the exact problem. This is done to ensure that their thinking is not influenced by preconceived notions. The process is begun when a general concept or a word associated with the problem is introduced to the group. The group then responds to this general concept with various ideas. This helps in finding ideas which are related to the problem at hand. Finally, the actual problem is disclosed to the group to get suggestions for implementation of solution to the actual problem. For example, to design a new ton opener, the group may be presented with the opening theme. They then come up with ideas related to opening up of any item or any related issue. This process helps to find unusual solutions to the problem. Sixth, synthetics. The word synthetics is derived from a Greek word which means the joining of different and seemingly irrelevant elements. It was developed by George Prince and William Gordon and was similar to the Gordon method initially. It is a process for solving problems through an analogy. First, the participants are introduced and familiarized with the problem. This is done through generalization or reversal of things and looking at the problem through a familiar and stable perspective to remove any unfamiliarity. Then the participants get thinking and come up with the new ideas to resolve the problem. The key to a successful idea generation is the identification of the right analogy. For example, to find ideas about flying, one may take the analogy of a bird and try to familiarize with how a bird is able to fly. Once this is figured out, the same principle can be applied to a machine is able to fly. 7th, problem inventory analysis. This technique is similar to focus groups. Here, a group of people are provided with a set of problems in a general product category. They are then required to discuss the products in that category which have that particular problem. This method is more effective than focus group, since instead to generating entirely new ideas, it is easier to relate to problems with existing products. It can help in identifying opportunities in existing market. The group is provided with a product or product category and is given a list of problems such as bitter, bland, burns, sticks, salty, expensive or made by a lazy cook. The group is then asked to relate these problems with the product. It thus becomes easier for people to relate these characteristics to a given product when the problems are already suggested to them. The response of the group can then form a basis for introducing or removing certain features in a product. 8th, checklist method. This method utilizes a list of related issues, suggestions and questions to generate new ideas. This list is then used by the entrepreneur to guide the thinking process to develop a new idea. The list can include some suggestions as given by Alex, such as: first, put to other uses, new ways to use, other uses if modified. Second, adapt, what else is like this? What other ideas does this suggest? Third, what to add, more time, greater frequency, stronger, larger. Next, rearrange, swap over components, other layout, other order. 9th, free association. This is very powerful technique for generating new ideas. It begins by writing a word related to the problem and then another is added and so on. This process then creates a chain of ideas. This is continued till a solution is found out. 10th, forced relationship. This technique involves forcing relationship between given products. It makes an attempt to ask question and come up with a new idea. The entrepreneur can use a set of objects or cards with pictures to help in the process. Rawlinson has specified a 5-step process as a guide. Step 1, isolating the parts of the problem. Step 2, determining relationship between these parts. Step 3, noting down these relationships in order. Step 4, assessing these relationships to find any new patterns or ideas. Step 5, developing new ideas from these patterns. 11th, attribute listing or morphological analysis. This method involves listing down the attributes of a product or a problem. After this, one can find out the variations or options for each attribute and list them under each attribute. The attributes can be listed as column headings and the options for each attribute can be listed below it. This will create a table called as morphological box or Zwicky box, named as such after the scientist Fritz Zwicky. who devised this method in 1966. Once the table is ready, one can come up with various combinations of a solution. This is commonly used for generating ideas for new product development. 12th, collective notebook method. In this method, a small notebook containing the problem, related background information and some blank pages is given to the participants. They consider the problem and note down their suggestions once or preferably thrice a day. At the end of a week or month, a list of all the ideas and suggestions is prepared. A summary report is also prepared by the coordinator, which is used by the group to discuss the problem further and to come up with further suggestions. 13th, Big Dream Approach. Dreams are the motivator for many an entrepreneur. This approach therefore requires an entrepreneur to dream about a problem and the solution to that. It requires the person to think big, regardless of the constraints that might crop up in implementing the solution. Ideas need to be formed without any constraint till it is developed into a viable form. Every opportunity needs to be considered without getting blocked by the negatives. 14th, parameter analysis. This method involves identifying and assessing the various parameters or variables in the problem and determining their relative importance. The more important variables are then investigated. The relationship between the important variables are then analyzed. The analysis of the parameters and the relationship leads to a solution. The final stage of developing a solution is also known as creative synthesis. 15th, Delphi or nominal group method. This method involves a group of experts who are approached separately with a problem and ideas are solicited. If they do not agree on the solution, they are approached again without discussing who said what. Ideas are taken again and the process is repeated till there is an agreement on the solution. This method was used by the Rand Corporation at the initiative of a US military. 16th, scenario analysis. Under this method, a scenario relevant to the business for the future is built up and the participants thinks of an idea suitable for that scenario. Thus, the entrepreneur tries to anticipate the future needs of the customer and tries to come up with the ideas to meet these future needs. 17th, cause-effect analysis. This method was devised by Toyota Motor Corporation and made popular by the Quality Circle movement. This method uses a 5 why analysis, which means asking a series of why questions for a problem. An answer to a why question is followed by a further why. This finally leads to the root cause of the problem, providing ideas for solving a problem. 18th, value analysis. This is also called value engineering. This method was developed by General Electric Company in the late 1940s. The purpose of this method is mainly to improve an existing product, service or program. In this method, all the features of a product are identified and the value contributed by these features is assessed. If the contributed value is very low or negative, especially with respect to the cost of providing it, the feature is removed or altered. During this process, one may also come across ideas about new features to be added or better still ideas for a new product altogether. Entrepreneurship involves the identification and analysis of opportunities. These opportunities can be exploited by him once he has analyzed various ideas. An entrepreneur needs to be on the lookout for new ideas for his venture. This identification of new ideas and turning them into reality is known as creativity. An entrepreneur needs to be aware of his environment in order to come up with new ideas for his venture. Various trends such as green trend, clean energy trend, organic trend, economic trend, social trend, health trend and web trend occurring in the environment around him can provide him with certain ideas in order to start his venture. Consumers, existing products and services, distribution channels, government, research and development by the entrepreneur can also serve as source of new ideas for the entrepreneur. In case the trends and various other sources of ideas are not enough to generate ideas in the mind of the entrepreneur, he can use any of the various methods for generating new ideas such as brainstorming, Gordon method, checklist method, free association, forced relationship, collective notebook method, attribute listing, big dream approach, parameter analysis or Delphi technique.